Everybody wants to know, how do I get enough rental real estate so that I don't have to worry about my job anymore? I want freedom. Well, baby, I'm here to tell you freedom is not free. You got to earn it. You got to work for it. It is going to take you more time and energy and cost you more than anything you've ever had in your life. If you are sick of sitting in that day job and answering to the man and doing what you're told, you are going to have to fight for it. And today we're going to sit down and do a little math. We're going to do some math and architect our future in the form of freedom with the Freedom Formula with Cash Flow Carl and short-term rental management, brought to you by the Short-Term Shop. Without further ado, here we are, the Freedom Formula, brought to you by the Short-Term Shop. We love you, theshorttermshop.com. Come join us. We would love to help facilitate the purchase of your new vacation home, make a couple extra bucks with it. But I also love long-term rentals, man. So we're going to talk today about how we can construct a formula to figure out what it's going to take to make X amount of dough in our future. And then we can work back from that. Okay, so let's just start with the top of the freedom formula, which is replacing, let's say, $100,000 job. Let's say we're going to do that with some houses, with some rental houses, and we need to come up with X amount of these things to replace that $100,000 job. Let's do this at 10% cash on cash return. Now, is 10% cash on cash return even realistic in 2022, 23, 24, 25? Who knows? I'm not here to talk about that, but I am here to talk about easy math, and 10% is easier than 6 or 7 or 12 or whatever. So 10% cash on cash return. Let's say I'm dealing with some $150,000 long-term rentals in any town, USA. And these $150,000 long-term rentals are 20% down, just, hypothetically, which is $30,000. At 10% cash on cash return, that's $250 a month or $3,000 a year. So in order to replace this $100,000, replace is not the right word, but to kind of ease the stress of, that day job, $100,000 day job, I need 33 and a third $150,000 long-term rentals that make $250 a month times $3,000 a year to equal $100,000 a year. Are you following me? Are you with me there? $100,000 a year is 33 houses. Long story short. Again, very simple back of the napkin math. There's a million ways to tweak numbers and do rehabs, etc. So then we need to figure out, how much money do I need to go get these 33 houses? You're going to need $1 million cash, right? $30,000 times 33 and a third is $1 million, $999,000, give or take. $1 million cash out of pocket could theoretically create $100,000 a year in cash flow. Then we're talking leverage. You also need to understand that day job needs to be able to facilitate $5 million worth of real estate purchase, which would be $4 million worth of leverage, because you're putting $1 million down, right? We're using big numbers now. We're just having some fun. We're just constructing a formula to give us some freedom. That's why I named it Freedom Formula. But to, give us a little bit of a blueprint for our future possibly here, so $150,000 times 33 equals $5 million, 33 and a third. I'm going to put 20% down. That's $1 million. And that puts me at $4 million with a loan, with leverage, with a bank, or 10 banks, or however many banks. All right, so let's go back and break that down a little bit deeper. Luke, are you sitting here telling me I need $1 million cash to quit my job? I mean, in not so many words, it's probably pretty realistic. And even then, we haven't even mentioned the roof falling in or the water heater springing a leak on 33 houses or 33 HVACs. Okay, let's do some math. 33 HVACs. Last time I got an HVAC for $150,000 long-term rental was about $8,000. Let's go with maybe $7,500 times 33.3. That's $250,000 worth of HVACs. So you got to figure out going in how many of these things need to be replaced. Well, all of them are going to need to be replaced in the next 10, 15 years, even if they're brand new, right? That's reality, my friends. But you can't let it hold you down. Don't let it hold you down. I didn't have any money going into this. And I quit my job around 90 doors. I didn't want to quit my job. I didn't have time to do all this. I didn't have time because this is a job. This is a gig. This is a career. You got to think of it as a career. And just chip away one house at a time over 15, 20 years. And then the next thing you know, life is good. You cannot, listen, here's another thing. Let's go back to that $250 a month. We could bump that up. You could bump that up with long term. So let's say you go buy a long term. There was already a long term rental single family home, and you buy that bad boy for X amount of $130,000, and then you rehab it, and maybe it had a tenant in there that was tearing it up for 8 years, and you fix it up, and now you're making $300 or $400 a month. You cannot remodel a stock. You cannot put a new roof on a mutual fund and make it worth more money. That's why rental real estate reigns supreme. You can control it. It's awesome. It's the greatest thing on the planet. It's wonderful. Right? So now we're talking about vacation homes. Hey, let's throw a vacation rental in there. Maybe that thing makes a couple extra bucks. Yeah, it's probably going to be more expensive. A little bit more difficult to buy that, take that thing down, man. It's a big downstroke. Big down payment. But it throws more fuel on the fire. It's like a turbocharger. It's like a cash flow turbocharger, as Avery Carl would say from the short-term shop. And it's true. You know, it is more work probably. I will say my long-terms are a lot of work too. It's all a lot of work. I don't have evictions with short-terms. I don't have leases to deal with and lawyers in most cases, hopefully, knock on wood. So it's a different kind of work. I actually enjoy the short terms a little more. It's fun. It's sexy. And hopefully they're throwing a little more fuel on the fire than a $250 a month house cash flow. You throw a little more on there with a big old house on the beach or a big old house in the mountains and rent it out on Vrbo, rent it out on Airbnb and go visit it and sleep in it and have fun with it. It's awesome. It's a wonderful thing. So is it even realistic to think that you can quit your job, $100,000 day job? First of all, where are you going to get the next loan, man? Where are you going to get that next down payment? The down payment is everything. W-2 is cash, is a downflow, a down payment generator, as David Green once said. So you need that job. If you are sitting there saying, man, how am I gonna quit my job? How am I gonna quit my job? You need to be saying, how am I gonna go get a better job to bring in more cash to go buy more real estate? It's either that or you can syndicate or you can call your rich uncle. Those are your choices. I didn't have no rich uncle. So I worked hard, baby. I worked hard. The cream of the crop will rise to the top. And I did what it took. And I loved my day job. It wasn't even about that for me. It was about freedom. It was about freedom. And freedom is not free. You got to earn it. You got to kick ass. Don't take any crap. Kick ass, take names, baby. You got to do what it takes. So sit down and do some simple math. Use the freedom formula and tweak it. Go in there, make some little changes. Man, I think I can probably knock this thing down. I could probably go to how many houses do I need to get in a year? Let's do that. Can I get one house a year for the next X amount of years? And how much will that make me in cash flow over the period of a year in year A, B, C, and D? Sit down with a yellow pad and do some damn math. And I will tell you right now, the most important thing to me every time I bought a house was how much money is it going to put in my pocket per month that I didn't have there before. Because where I come from, $250 a month, is a lot of dough. Maybe not in 2024, but back in the day it was. So showing my age and the old gray hairs coming through. But how much per month is this house going to make a difference in my life? That's always been the most important thing for me. My mortgage on my house, how much is that taking away from me, the one I live in? I don't like that. I want it to come back. I want it to come into my pocket. So cash flow is king, my friends. Cash Flow Carl preaching it. The Freedom Formula on behalf of the shorttermshop.com. We love you. Don't overthink it.